Hello, humans. I just got something to talk about with this. Let me start by saying I love this game. I love it. Etherlords 1, I love it. But this level, I have been on and off, for about 4 of your human days. Of just going in, playing for a couple of hours, and then getting so frustrated that I can't do it, and quitting, and then coming back another day when I'm like, you know what, I feel like playing some Etherlords 1. Let's do it. Let's smash that level. I've thought of a new strat. Let's go. And every single fucking time it crushes me. And I hate it, but at the same time, I love it. It's so difficult. And I was determined to do this level without cheating, without like doing some cheats to skip the level, without cheats to add resources or anything. Do it on the difficulty we're doing the whole campaign on, and just fucking crush it, you know? That's what I wanted to do, and safe to say, we did it, boys and girls. We've done it. I have completed this mission. This is the one on my last episode I did where we tried it like 3 or 4 times, I think, and we just kept getting smashed, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Okay, if you haven't watched it, I'm just going to preface it, right? This is the save I have, like a turn or two before I win, right? So we know that I'm winning. You start here. You start with 2 characters, Bernard and Ronaldo. We're now level 6. The objective is, it is you, bring up the diplomatic menu. It is you playing as the Kinets. You can't choose. They make you play the Kinets. And you're on the same team. You're allied with the Vitals, right? And you're versing the Chaos and the Synthets, who are also allied up. This menu here, the diplomacy menu, you're supposed to be able to, it's mainly for like PvP, not PvE like this is. But you can like do alliances with other players. You can send each other resources and stuff. Pretty standard shit in a strategy game, but number 1, you can't use this. The Vitals will not send you any resources. You cannot give them resources. Nothing. You just can't interact with this menu at all, right? So that's already out of the books. So you start with Bernard and Ronaldo. You're with the Vitals against the Kinets and the Chaos. I mean, the Synthets and the Chaos. Basic objective, go out and destroy the enemy's castle. Pretty good. Pretty easy standard sort of situation, right? No, it is not. It is not standard. So what happens is, for some reason, and you'll notice it if you watch my other playthrough, you notice it. If we come all the way down here, stupid camera. The Chaos base is here, right? So ours is back up here. The Chaos one is here. Our allied Vital is here. And the Synthets are real close, pretty much right next door down here, right? And there's Ronaldo and Bernard right here. And we are all the way down here by our lonesome. The computer's strategy, what you're supposed to, okay, just refresher, what you're supposed to do in this game, right, is just, in this mode, you're supposed to just go around and there's things on the map like the Mentor, get experience for your hero, you know, you got your Summoner's Hut where you buy your spells, you've got your various levels of stone portals where you can spend your resources, which are down here, which you're collecting every turn, at the stone portal to apply runes to the cards you get from the Summoner's Hut that lets you use them, up to 5. You got things like this, Mandrake Gun, which gives you X resources per turn. You just pick up random ones, but pretty much you want the huts, right? Or the guns, whatever, because they give you progressive resources every turn. And because when you charge your spell cards with runes from the stone portal, you only get 5 uses of that card. So you use it, you go duel someone, like you come over here and you duel the Orc Guard level 3, 16 life, right? You duel him, you use one of your cards twice, it's got 3 runes left. If you've run out of runes, it reverts back to your base deck. Which brings me to the first fucking issue in general of this mission, is we are forced to play the Kinets. And now the Kinets in both games are the fucking worst. Let's just round off. Let's just start at the fact that their beginning deck is fucking... Not only are most of their cards disgustingly terrible. This is a rant, by the way. This whole video is just going to be me picking apart this fucking level and how difficult it was for me. So let's start. Number 1, Kinet's cards are shit in general. Standard across all games. Both games, they're shit. In regards to the base decks that you start with, the beginning cards of their starter deck, right, that you have forever and you have unlimited of. I'm going to go through the umbrella of the starter decks from all the other specs and what they're good against and what they're bad against, like what they got going for them. And then I'll go to the Kinets and we'll see what's going good for them, right? Vitals. They have ticks and they have the Finguses, right? Finguses can't attack and they have like whatever defense, but they have a special ability where they can do 1 damage and kill themselves, right? They're good meat shields, they can attack directly, they can add bonus damage from their passive, right? Or from their spell. The ticks are just good in general. They start with a tick warrior, it's a good 3/3 card, 3 attack, 3 defense, and it costs 3 ether. Very fair. 1 ether for every stat, right? It's a good card by itself in general. It's a good whatever attack unit. But then they also have the ticks in general. Like they have more tick cards which all buff each other, right? You got the tick mother that spawns ticks. You got the tick worker that gives ticks 1 attack and 1 defense. Just shit like that, right? It's a good deck to start with. They also have cards that give you ether. So spend 1 ether to get 2 ether, which gives you 1 ether, right? Essentially, they have cards like that. They've also got good defensive cards like the forest, right? So that's their deterrent. If they don't get any, if your initial deck draw, like if your initial first hand draw is shit, and you don't have any monsters or something, you're bound to either get an ether card to get the monsters that you want, or one of these forest cards which blocks people with X attack. You have to have more than X attack to attack, right? It's a good stall card. That's a good base deck. Good starter deck. The Chaots, they got rats, they got zaps, they got fires, and they got deterrent spells, and they got buffs. So they have 1 buff card which buffs their rats, 1/1 for 2 ether, right? It's a good card. The rats cost 1, they're 1/1. They got zap, which is a good, you can use it on enemies, you can use it on enemy minions, you can use it on enemy heroes. Anything, just does 1 damage. You got firewall, whatever they have, which sweeps your entire enemy's creatures and does 1 damage to them, right? Really good. Can use that with zaps, can use that with your whatever. And the buff card's good. They have a good starter deck. And they also have deterrent cards of, like, they don't have any flying creatures early, for example, but if you did happen to have a flying creature, they've got a spell that does X damage to flying creatures. Really good spell. Good starter deck. Synthets. One of the best as well. I think Synthets would be second next to Vitals. They got the worms. They're 1/1. They cost 1 ether. You summon them. They have no summoning sickness and they have berserks. They attack straight away. You can't stop them from attacking and they can attack as soon as you summon them. You summon it, it goes out, bam. And it's just whatever. It's just free damage, right? Free little chip damage. They have the repair spell, which cost 1 ether. Brings back the last creature that died from the graveyard to your hand. So usually just your worm, which costs 1 ether as well. And it also does 1 damage to the enemy hero. So where worms go out, they die. They also have regeneration, 2 or 3 by the way, which is fucking hectic. Just in case you were stocking up on worms, the enemy can't beat them. Few turns down the line, you've still got some on your side. Bam! Guess what? They've got regeneration now and I've got ether to spare, right? Good cards. Good cards. And they have the buffs. They have their best buff spell in the game, I reckon, for the early starter decks. It costs 1 or 2 ether, buffs them from 1/1 to 3/3, and they eventually die, but then you're just going to get them back anyway, right? Because it's the theme of the mechanical synthetic deck, Resurrection. It's good shit. Good shit. Now the Kinnets. What do the Kinnets have? You might say, like, oh, the other three. The other three, hectic, good cards, good starter decks. What do the Kinnets have, mate? Why don't you tell us? I will tell you. What they have is the Aviax. It's the only creature. I'll show it to you, actually. We'll look at it. She's got... Oh, wait. I've got the... Fuck. I've got the other cards on. Whatever. Okay, this is their starter deck, essentially. Besides this guy, and this guy, this is their starter deck. They have 4 Aviax Scouts. Aviax Scout costs 3 ether, only has 1 attack, 2 defense. It's a mediocre card, but it costs fucking 3 ether. Because it has, like, I get why the cost is, right? It should be 2 ether, but they have flying, so because most, well, pretty much every other starter deck doesn't have any flying creatures, this one does, so it costs 3 ether, right? Because it's a bit of an advantage. If you don't know, because you're stupid, you don't watch any of my other videos, number 1, again, fuck you. Number 2, flying means you can only be attacked by other flying creatures, right? Or blocked. So they cost that. You start the game with, you start each duel with 1 ether. So you want to go first because you're not going to be able to summon these bad boys till at least your 3rd turn. And that's the only creature you have. And you might be like, oh, that's fine, I'll just do like the Vitals do. And I'll just get some extra ether. They don't have any cards like that. Oh, I might just do what the Chaots do then and just use cards to increase my ether channel so maybe I can get them a turn earlier or I can get more of them later in the game because I have a higher ether channel later. They don't have cards like that. Hate to break it to you. Resurrection spells, forget about it. Wouldn't even affect it. Point being, it's a lot of ether for a starter creature. You couldn't have been given us the River Halos? They cost like 1 ether. They're also flying. And they're weak as well. They're better than these cards. Just give them the River Halos as the starting deck, right? Shit. AVX are shit and they're ugly. And the animations are ugly. Their sounds are ugly. They're a shit card and I fucking hate them. If you want to see how much I hate them, go watch my other video. I'm pretty sure it's Etherlords 2. It would have been Etherlords 2, yeah. Where I am forced, again, in the campaign, to play the Kinnets for a couple of episodes. And it is fucking horrendous. And it's like hard mode for this game, really. They also have strong attack. Cost 2 ether, increase the power of your creature by 1. Bullshit. The Chaots have the same card, but it also increases their defense by 1 for the same cost. Bullshit card, only get 2 of them. This one is decent, tough skin. 1 ether, increase your toughness by 1. Good card. There is no other cards that we get that are starter, tier 1 or tier 2 that increase your defense or your attack. You have to wait till you get tier 3 cards, which means that they cost a shit ton of ether. Not ether. They do. They cost a lot of ether and they cost a lot of resources to rune up. Useless. So this is the only defense spell we have. We get 3 of them. You only get 2 of these attack ones. This is the only reason this deck can beat anything. Has a chance of beating anything because you have this card. Lesser Unsummoning, 1 ether. Return target creature with casting cost 3 or less from the player to its controller's hand. It's a good card, it's a versatile card, it's the best card they have in their fucking starter deck. And that's saying something. That's really saying something. It has so many uses. Number 1, it's a stall card, which is supposed to be used in conjunction, I guess, with the 3 cards that would have been here that I replaced. Which is a stupid card that costs 1 ether. And it's an enchantment, so it stays in play and it applies to you and the enemy. Every time, and they stack, so you can say you had 3 of them, right? But in general, the base effect of the card is 1 ether, it's an enchantment. Every time you or your enemy wants to send someone up next to you to engage in attack against the enemy player, you have to pay 1 ether, and they stack, and you can get as many. So say you had 5 of them. Every time I want to send one of my creatures up to attack, it costs me 5 ether. I cannot dispel that myself. So I can't even use that card as a stall card early in the game and be like, ha ha ha, I'm gonna just wait out until I get my enough ether channel to start summoning my spamming my Aviax scouts, right? It's bullshit because it affects you. By the time I get my Aviax scout out, it costs me 3 ether and I have none. Next turn, I'll probably want to summon another one because I've only got 1 creature and it's already the 3rd turn. It's already the 3rd turn. The enemy's been slamming me for 2 turns already and setting up, right? And I have no setup. If these were enchantments, I would get it. Like, enchantments as in, like, enchantments not for a creature, but just on your hero, right? Which means they apply to your whole field. That would make sense because I could stall out my first 2 turns by casting some of these bad boys. So that when I summon my Aviac, for example, say this one was like toughness of all of your creatures increased by 1. And I summon this and now it's 1-3. Or I have 2 of them out and I summon this and it's 1-4. It can actually stand a chance. You don't have that shit. So the card that I replace with these ones, the mana one, is bullshit. I can't dispel it myself. It's just a hindrance in general. Doesn't stop the enemy because they're still massing their units. It just forces them to mass more units against me instead of making dumb choices. But this one, less unsummoning, good card. Thank you, Lord, for this card. So many uses. Number 1, it's a store card. You have your first turn, I can't do anything. You throw it over to the enemy. They summon a stink rat, for example. Say what you're versing a chaos. They summon a stink rat. Okay. Go. The stink rat gets summoned. They end their turn. It stands up. It's my turn now. Still can't summon anything because I've only got 2 ether. I'll desummon that rat so he can't attack with it. His next turn, he has to resummon that creature. It's sleeping again because is resting because he just summoned it. Buys me another turn. It's good for that alone. But I've only got 3 of them, mind you. It's good for that. Say he buffs his stink rat with lesser strength, which is the 1 attack, 1 defense card for 2 ether, right? Really good card. For a starter deck anyway. He does that. And then he goes to attack me with it. He's probably going to get the attack because I don't have any creatures out. But he buffs, say he buffs this creature up, right? I desummon that creature back to his hand. He can still resummon it, but all the enchantments from that creature go to the graveyard. Good effect. Say someone like the Synthet uses an enchantment on one of my creatures to rest them, right? Which is a great card that the Synthet starter deck has. So broken. Rest my creature, right? Instead of despelling that card or doing the card's effect to get rid of it, I can just desummon my creature, summon it back. And every negative thing that was on it is gone. Only good card in this fucking deck, right? These guys suck. These guys suck so much. Get that out of the way. You start with that, right? You have 2 guys, Barnard and Ronaldo, and you start with that starter deck. You'll see in the other video, for some reason, instead of just going around the map and being like, oh yeah, killing stuff, getting runes, you know, getting resources, leveling up, being fair, the enemy, the Synthet specifically, pretty much, it takes us like, I did a bunch of runs of this, and I can get down to the Vital's base from my base, so all this way on the map, and get all this way in about, and have good cards, have like better than my starter deck cards in about 8 turns, right? By that time, the Synthets, which are right next door, get one of their guys up to about level 7, level 6, 7 or 8, and then they come straight over here. The Vital has three heroes, right? They don't summon anymore. They have 3 heroes. They have 1 in this fort, 1 in this fort, and then there's a fort here that they have in there. The guys in their forts are level 4. All of them. And they're weak as. The Synthet brings his level 6, 7, or 8 guy up here, destroys the guy in the fort. There's another creature here, destroys that guy, and he's leveled up again by this time. Comes straight here, starts destroying the Vital's base. On my first playthrough, I was like, oh, it doesn't matter, I don't care. Like, I'll just let them die. They're not doing anything. They don't make any moves. They just sit in their towers. They do nothing. For some reason, on this map, if the Vitals die, you lose. which was a shock to me the first time I saw it. It's the first time it happened. I was like, yeah, whatever, they're gonna die. I don't care, right? We don't care about that. Well, you should, because it makes you lose. And they do that strategy. I've run this about 50 bloody times. Every single time, the synthets have the exact same strategy. The chaots kind of just run around here, just collecting shit and getting in your way, because this is the quickest way from your base to the Vitals. So you come down this way. The chaots try and stop you here, and they fight you. Like, their guys are pretty weak. You probably only have to fight back maybe 2 guys. One's level 4, one's level 6 by this point. And they're piss easy, right? They're piss easy. By the time you get down to here, so the strategy has to be run from your base to, okay, the objective I found, let's just go from this. The objective I found to beating this was to start at my base, level my guy up as quick as possible and as optimally as possible without wasting any turns, because every time you move, the enemy moves as well, right? Starting at your base, this was the strategy. Go down and get the experience from this guy, so you level up to level 3, go down here, kill the guy who's guarding this, take another turn to capture this, change your cards, move over to here, kill the guy guarding this, another turn to grab this, and then put your resources into getting some runes, run down here, there's an enemy here, there's enemies here, and then you get annoyed by the chaos here, keep sprinting, probably kill something here if you have enough turns, come down past the other fort, all the way here, and sit here, and guard the Vital's base so the Synsets can't get them, right? But in my best playthrough, I managed to get here, and they already have an enemy hero here, right? Already attacking the base. That's the best case scenario that I found. The guy here is a massive problem because he always has the same deck. He's like level 8, and we're only about level 6 at this point. Yeah, level 6. He's level 8, so he's got about 32 health. The cards he uses are Veloses. He has the specialization for Veloses. Veloses come in 2 forms. They have one creature which costs 1 ether, and it's 3 attack and 1 defense. And they have another version which is 2 ether and has 4 attack, 1 defense. Veloses die if they don't receive any damage by the end of the next turn that after they've been summoned. So I cast Velos, it's their turn, it's my turn. If at the end of that turn they haven't suffered any damage, they die. So you pretty much have 1 turn, you summon them, they wake up, their turn, your turn, you attack straight away with them, they're gonna die. Your Synthets, you can just bring them back, right? That's the whole point of their deck, Resurrection. This guy also has a specialization for Veloses, which means every time they summon a Velos, there's a chance that you will summon a duplicate version of the Velos, right? This specialization works 100%. I've tried getting Bernard, so in this game, when you summon a new hero from your castle, they get a random specialization, right? You can't choose that. When they level up, you get a choice of 1 out of 3 things to level up. So with Bernard here, I had 2 mobility, which ended up increasing it to 50% movement speed, and I had 3 channeling expert, which delay and ether disturbance for you here is increased by 3 turns, reduced by 3 for your enemy. Which just means if you haven't played this game before, if the duel goes on for too long, there's an effect called ether disturbance, which starts zapping you and the enemy after your turns for increasing damage. Like the lightning just comes down, strikes you, does more damage every turn that you waste, right? So this means it puts the enemy 3 turns ahead of me to get struck by ether disturbance, and I get 3 extra turns to avoid it. So 6 turn difference, which is the deck I chose to get here is the fucking wall deck. I'll explain that in a minute. But pretty much, you can't choose your specialization, right? I even tried a build where I got Bernard, because I've used Bernard every time. I got Bernard, And when every time I got a level up, if it wasn't this specific level up specialization skill that I wanted, I would restart the whole level, right? Because I needed 3 of them. You can get a maximum of 5 on everything, but by the time I get him there, he's pretty much only got 3 of it, right? The skill I'm talking about is one that maybe one of them have it, and I can show you. I think she has it. No. There's a skill that you can get which the more points you have in it, the more effective it is, but the basic idea of it is it's a hindrance to the enemy specialization. So it stops your enemy specialization from working. There's a higher chance that it won't proc every time it has a chance to proc, right? I got 3 points in that. Fought the Velos guy. 100% every single time, or it's like a 95% chance that every time he casts Velos, he'll get 2 of them. I can't summon any creatures until like my 3rd turn, right? He's just pumping out. First turn, pumps out 2 Veloses. Second turn, he's got 4 of the fucking things. He just keeps coming, right? And if I desummon the Velos to stall myself out, which is the strategy most of the time, he summons it, he gets 2. I take 1 away, he summons the same one back, gets 2 now again. So now he's got 3. It's a nightmare, right? Now I'll walk you through the painstake that I had to go through to get to this point. Let's start at my base. So you start with Bernard and Ronaldo, as I said, level 1 both level 1. I had to restart the scenario over and over and over again until Bernard got this specialization. Aviax Canning. Any Aviac under the hero's control has a chance to deal double damage with a melee attack. This was my saving grace. It's our saving grace for the majority of the start of the run, right? Because these cunts only have 1 attack. So there's a chance they do 2. You only have 2 fucking enchantment spells of increasing power by 1. Thank you. You need all the help you can get. So I had to, number 1, I had to keep restarting until I got one of my heroes with that specialization, which was Bernard. Cool. Save the game. Continue to the next step. Next step, run Bernard down here. Hit that. So he gets level 3. Oh. Jeez, I'm sick. Bernard gets level 3 from this. On the first turn. Because you got to remember, every single turn matters. Because I've done this same strat and I've branched out a little bit and like wasted a few turns trying different things. And they get there and they kill the Vitals before I can do anything about it. It's ridiculous, right? Oh, my nose is so runny. I'm so sick. Okay. Get him down here in the first turn. Get level 3. Hope that both of the chances... So you get the three choices. Hope that every time on the level up, one of them is mobility. Right? Super important. Super important. Hang on. Ugh. That was just too annoying. Okay. Super important that you get this mobility. Because look at this. Your heroes have a specific amount of movement they can do per turn, right? Does she have it? No. So this is the standard amount. The grey represents stuff they can't do on this turn. So you can move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dots per turn. 7 dots. In order to be able to get down from my castle to the Vitalis castle in time, I had to have the 50% increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 dots. With 50% increase, right? 11 dots. Good for us. So that was step 2. make sure both of those give me mobility so I can get there in time. Bring him over here, defeat the shaman who's guarding this, which is the creature guarding it. Easy fight, easiest fight. Capture the summoner's hut. I can't show you the spells. Actually, you know what? Let's load. See all these different choices, like attempts I had? These are all for this one mission. One mission. Let's go. No, that's not it. Let's go. Autos. No. What one is it? Let's do this one and I'll show you. I'll show you what cards you have to choose from. So when you defeat the shaman, you can go to the summoner's hut. And you can get different spells. These are your choices. So, okay, this is the start. This is the stupid card I was talking about. Timidity. For each creature assigned to attack, the owner must pay 1 ether. Fucking garbage. These are your choices of extra tier 1 cards. You have the Avek Assassin, still costs 3, but instead of having 1/2, he has 2/1. Still flying, Avek Assassin can only be blocked by walls. The whole point of them flying against other early game starter decks is that that's your advantage. That's why they're expensive. I don't fucking care if they have walls. No one's got walls. Except I guess the Chaos, but it's not an issue, right? Because you're flying. They can't block you anyway. Aviac Elder is the only decent one, but it costs 6 fucking ether. He's 2 attack, 2 defense, power of all, toughness of all Aviacs increased by 1, which is a standard sort of like racial card. Since you have like a bunch of different Aviacs, like it's a good thing. But it costs 6 fucking ether. It's ridiculous. Aviac Marksman, 2/1, rest, deal 1 damage to targeted attacking creature. Only useful against stink rats and worms. This is your best card, Wall of Air, because it costs 1 ether. It's flying, so you can block other flying things like bats and that. 0/2. It's fair, it's a good card. Wall of Force, 12 defense, real good card, 7 ether. This costs 6 and it's 2/2. This costs 7 and it's 0/12. Come on, man. This card is shit. All heroes discard all spells for 3. Because no matter what, these are all discard spells, these 3 here. Targeted hero discards 3 summon spells. Targeted hero discards 3 non-summon spells. Supposed to be useful, right? I tested it because I was using this one. Because I'm like, maybe if I just get rid of the enemy creatures, like the enemy's creature cards, they won't be able to attack me so early. It doesn't work. I've versed a deck where I know how many cards they have. I know exactly what cards they have. I've desummoned one of their monster cards back to their hand. I've casted this, and they've still casted the card. It doesn't work. They don't work. It's a shit thing. That just disadvantages you. The enemy's still going to go doing what they're doing. Lamia Warrior, 9/5, 9 ether, whatever. You never get to it. By the time you got 9 ether channel to summon this bad boy, it's already either going in your favor or it's not. It's stupid. Those are your choices. This is what I had to work with, right? You can upgrade this building. So if you click on him here, since I've captured him, if we go rum pum pum, it's this one, it's this one. You go to your buildings, Summoner's Hut. You can upgrade it, and you get tier 2 creatures, right? Which are good cards. The Gibblings are good cards. You got Gibblings, 1 ether, 2/1, 2 ether, 3/1, and then Spirit of War, which is only 1 ether, good. Goes good with these guys, right? Good cards, but cost whatever resources to upgrade. But then the tier 2 cards cost shit like tier 1s require like Mandrake Roots and Black Lotus stuff to put they cost that. Their runes cost that resource to get those cards in your deck to recharge them. The tier 2 cards cost shit like Smoke Diamonds, Frozen Flames, and Star Sapphires, which are pretty rare around the map. So my strategy, one of my strategies was to upgrade this real early, source out as much of this black crystal shit as I could, which there's some over here. Was not enough. Didn't work. Couldn't afford that shit, right? Didn't work. Strategy was, get the 2 movement, get Bernard level 3, get the 2 movement, have him have Aviax Cunning, run him down here, and defeat the Vitals, right? That was the strategy. It just wasn't working. I couldn't beat the Veloses, whatever. I had another strategy where I was like, you know what? If they destroy my tower, like my allies' base, what if I destroy their base first? And the Chaos base is over here, right? Let's go back to our other game. Excuse me. Let's go back to... The Chaos base is ready. I was like, you know what? What if I just sprint down there and I kill them first? It'll make the Synthets lose as well. So I did. I brought 2 guys. I ran them down. Destroyed the castle. Nothing. Nothing happened. Nothing fucking happened. It's not fair. I defeated their ally. And they are allies because they don't attack each other. Defeated the castle. Nothing fucking happened. Then he defeats the Vitalis castle a couple of turns later and pff, you're donezo, right? I've tried going different routes. I routed the whole fucking map. I looked up everything on the map. Nothing was working, right? The strategy that I ended up getting to work was that I had to get a 3rd guy. So you see Marcia here. I had to summon her real early as well. I had to get her to come around and destroy creatures over here and gather resources, because not only did I have to power up a deck for Barnard, I also had to power up an Aviac deck for Ronaldo and get both of these items, right? So my strategy ended up being, the winning strategy was get Barnard to have just all wall cards. So every fight pretty much came down to ether disturbance. So I would come in, I would just summon wall after wall after wall after wall after wall, and I would just meat shield the shit out of it. Hope that I got some Aviacs thrown in there, and I could level them up without them getting killed, and they would just slowly chip away at the enemy. And I would either win by doing that, or I would win by ether disturbance, right? So he's doing that, and he got down here in a fucking record time. Like, he sprinted past everything. He, whatever, just missed as many creatures as he could. I ran him over here. And by the way, the Vitals, when they lose a hero, like the one that died from this fort, they don't summon another one. They don't do shit. They just sit there and they fucking take it and they just die. And they don't have any creature card things around here. All they have is room portals. There's 2 of them. There's another one over here somewhere. So they can't even get better cards to help themselves, right? I had to get Barnard to get his wall deck, come over here, and stall out these guys from coming in with the Veloses and crushing the tower. And in that spare time, I had to get Ronaldo here to use Aviax, which is the shittest thing, get her down here, and get her to defeat the Synthet with the Veloses. That's what I had to do. And then pretty much once you defeat the main hero that the enemies are leveling up, they've already killed most of the shit around their own base for levels, so they can't really level up. So they stay like these guys as level 1, and you just fight them and you kill them and they resummon them. But they're nothing at that point. You just got to defeat their 1 or 2 main heroes. Went over here, defeated that guy, left Barnard here to fend off any other Synthets that they summon, sent Ronaldo back here to destroy the Chaos Castle, and then come all the way back to doing what we're doing now, which is just also destroying the Synthets. A random. Useless. This is the only card. It took like fucking, what are we? Day 3 week 8 for them to summon another hero, and then they just ran him up here. Like the Vitals summoned another hero, didn't put him in the tower, just ran him up here doing fuck all, right? And by the way, I was only able to defeat the Velos deck because I had to go out of my way to get these 2 artifacts, which are like items that your character can hold and you can use them in combat. And they're pretty alright. So this one was Power and Toughness of the enchanted creature increased by 4 until end of the turn, and they don't cost you ether. And Rod of Lightning, deal 3 damage to target creature or hero, right? Those 2 I used Clutch as to destroy the Velos guy, and then from then it was game over. So I've already done this, but just for your satisfaction, we're gonna destroy them now. Finally. Fucking finally. Let's go, right? Final turn. This took me so many days. I'm not even ashamed of it. There's so many restarts on this. This was the hardest level I've ever done. This is the hardest Etherlords challenge I've ever done, and it's not even a challenge. It's the fucking campaign. It's like the 3rd mission of the campaign. Blessed.
War is flaring up.
You'll see this in the next episode, but look at this. We finally get a good thing. We get the Vitals versus the Synthets.
And obey the Kinets. Now
it's
something
good.
very strange.
Yeah. Move on. And there you have it. That was my rant on my struggle with the hardest Etherlords level I've ever had to fucking do. Super frustrating, and I loved every second of it. Ha! Best game ever. Boom!